From the Supreme Court about the potential impact of so-called faithless electors. Let's get straight to Jessica Schneider, who is outside the court. So, Jessica, what do we know?
Well, Erica, we all know that the Electoral College is the key to determining who becomes president. 270 electoral votes needed to win. And this morning, the Supreme Court issuing a unanimous 9-0 decision saying that each of the states throughout this country, they may in fact bind those so-called electors in each state, meaning that each state can mandate that each of the electors must vote.
The Supreme Court issued several rulings this morning. Justices ruled unanimously that states can require presidential electors to back their state's popular vote winner in the Electoral College. That means laws will stand in 32 states and the District of Columbia that bind electors to vote for their popular vote winner.
Family, light and love to everybody. I want to do an update on this electoral college process for your family because it was brought to my attention that the Supreme Court just ruled on the topic on a couple of weeks ago. So let's get back into this thing because what we're not going to do, family, is let mainstream media deceive us anymore. So if you notice in the videos, what the media are saying is that the ruling actually was put in place by the Democrats. It was a lawsuit that was put in by the Democrats when a few electors in whatever state decided that they absolutely were not going to vote for Hillary Clinton. So they sued, and the Supreme Court found in favor of the states that sued them, and the fine was $1,000 apiece. When they say that these states, you have to understand that when media tells you that the Supreme Court ruled that the states can in fact bind their electors to vote the way of the popular vote, the states have always had the ability to do that. Any state at any time, because they choose the electors, and this is what's in the Constitution, because the states actually choose their electors, they have the right to put restrictions on their electors. They have the right to give them a set protocol, and the states do. So when we hear about the 32 states that actually bind their electors, so forth and so on, first let's realize that they're talking legalese to us. We don't use the word bind on a daily basis. So let's go look at the actual codes regarding said topic. So I'm on Law and Crime, a Dan Abrams production, which I don't really care which site I'm getting this from because I'm going to the United States Code. So the Code of Alabama, S17-19-2, states that each elector is required to sign a statement that is turned into the Secretary of State's office, which says, I do hereby consent and do hereby agree to serve as elector for President and Vice President of the United States if elected to that position, and do hereby agree that if so elected, I shall cast my ballot as such elector for Donald Trump for President and Mike Pence for Vice President of the United States. Family, I did not misread you, and this is not a misprint or an opinion. This is United States Code. This is the statement that the electors from Alabama have to turn in when they're elected. So if you remember in that first video, we found out that the Electoral College is actually decided at that party, whether it's the Democratic National Convention or the Republican National Convention. That's where they choose those peoples in those positions, and that's done actually a year or so ahead of time. Remember, we've actually been over all of this. Alaska Statute S15.30.140 provides the party shall require from each candidate for elector a pledge that as an elector, the person will vote for the candidates nominated by the party of which the person is a candidate. So the media mixing a little truth with a little untruth, and that's no surprise. But if you go look at the United States statutes have not changed, and they tell you all you need to know about the voting process. The 32 states that they claimed are binded, these are the statutes that quote unquote bind them in the positions to do whatever they're supposed to do. They're bound to vote for their party. That is why Hillary Clinton and the Democratic Party was able to put in a lawsuit against the electors that didn't vote the Democratic way in the first place because they went against their contract. I love you all. Light and love, family.